Overwatch is IGN's Game of the Year 2016 because it simply is amazing execution on an amazing idea.
I said during my review that Overwatch was the new gold standard in multiplayer shooters. And I have to admit that after I pressed publish, I went, wow, that's a big claim I just made. I wonder if I'm gonna regret that a year down the road. And a year down the road, I'd be happy to write that up in the sky.
Overwatch is a hero-based shooter where 2 teams of 6 battle it out across various colourful maps. There are several characters for players to choose from, and each have their own unique abilities.
I think the more time you spend with a game like Overwatch, you're peeling back these layers and finding more and more strategy in a game that, on a surface level, seems pretty straightforward, but is so deep, and you learn more and more about constructing a team and picking who to play on which map, and just really realizing how perfectly balanced it is for every single occasion.
It's very colourful, it's very clean, it's got that Blizzard level of polish, but underneath there's that sort of density to the metagame that you're just digging at to try and make yourself a better player. It's essentially Bushnell's Law. It's easy to learn, but really difficult to master.
Let's shoot for a new high score! I can't wait to get started!
I think without question, one of the strongest points of Overwatch is its accessibility. Anybody can get into this game. It doesn't matter if you've been playing shooters all your life or you've never played a shooter before.
Even as a newbie, you can come in and pick up Zenyatta, or you can pick up Tracer, or you can play as Torbjorn and get a feel for that character in a couple of rounds and see incremental growth each time you play as them. And that's something that Overwatch does better than any other game that I've played before.
Even though I don't have, super great twitch reflexes, even though I'm not a great shooter player, I can succeed with a character like Junkrat, or I can succeed with a character like Symmetra. I can still run around, have a great time with my friends, and really help my team win, even if I don't have necessarily that hardcore FPS skill.
I can't remember the last time that so many people of all different tastes have been so excited constantly just to get one more match in, to sit down and talk to their friends about it, and share what happened last night.
Oh, let's break it down!
I am in agreement.
Overwatch works on a mechanical level because when you shoot somebody in the head, they die. If it was any slower than that, I don't think it would play nearly as well as it does. What's remarkable about Overwatch in that sense, with this high and quick lethality, is that you're able to use your team and your hero's abilities to kind of cheat death.
Every gun is just a joy to shoot, and every ability is just such a joy to activate. Every ultimate just feels fantastic, and there's no shortcut to that. That just takes years and years and years of Blizzard testing and refining the game until they got it just right.
You have those moments in Overwatch over and over again. Every single character's toolset works like that. There's no one who doesn't have the tools to make plays, and there's no one whose kit doesn't work properly, both with other heroes and within themselves. It's just a matter of reaching that moment of epiphany and going, ooh, phew, that's how it works.
I really love that feeling of your team all working together when it suddenly clicks and everyone's pulling their weight and doing their part, and all of a sudden you have the capture point. There's nothing like that.
No one character is more overpowered than another individually, and even when they get together as a team, you can see crazy, wild combinations of special powers and abilities firing off. And despite thousands and thousands of hours of play, they've never found a combination that's just completely overpowered or that just completely dominates. We're still seeing different strategies ebb and flow, and people figure out the best way through the maps and figure out the best team compositions.
Imagination is the essence of discovery. Open your mind.
In a shooter, you don't expect happy characters. You expect war-torn, grizzled, just like gruff people spouting one-liners before they get shot. In Overwatch, everyone seems to have this weird sort of Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic. Everyone's slightly overblown, everyone's slightly silly, they make jokes. It's just pleasant to be with them, and that's why it's such a successful creation.
They have so much complexity and depth to them outside of the game that if you really care about, you can go find and read about. And of course, there's the amazing fandom around Overwatch, which builds that out even more.
Everything about it is just so colorful and diverse. The community, I think, has been a huge, huge part of its success as well. Like, just the ability to kind of project yourself onto these characters. And just the amount of fan art that has come from it, I think has built a really fantastic community inside and outside the game, and I think that's one of the reasons Overwatch is really strong.
You can really get a feeling for these characters, and the fact that they're representing so many different people, so many different places, and so many different preferences and backgrounds. There's somebody for everybody.
You can sit in Overwatch and play the game exactly how you want to for hours and never have to engage with anything except voice lines that mean nothing if you don't know the context of them. And that's why the narrative works. It's just always behind everything for you to sort of pull back the curtain and have a look.
It's incredibly hard to put story into a multiplayer-focused game. But what they do with the characters, by the way that they interact with each other or by the way they interact with the world around them, it's really important, I think, to really pull everything together. The personality they put into them really make them shine through as a wider, diverse sort of class of characters that you don't see that often.
You play the game, you watch the animated shorts, and you read the comic, and they all sort of synergize to create this really in-depth and really thoughtful narrative.
They've really layered this impressive world that is just blooming and growing and expanding, and I can't wait to see where they go with that narrative in 2017.
Looks like another victory!
Ready for transcendence.
In maybe the last decade of games, there hasn't been a game that's made me want to play it every single day. There's always something chewy and new to try and really meaningful. And you have this idea that Overwatch is always going to be there, constantly building, constantly having something new.
They really could have just let this go as it stands because it's still an excellent game, yet Blizzard just continues to support and to tweak and to make Overwatch a better game.
It does something that you don't find very often. It unites new players and hardcore players, and it unites people who exclusively play shooters and people who don't play shooters. And it unites, people of different backgrounds and different personalities, and it takes all of them and puts them into this lobby together where the fluid mechanics and the abilities that seemingly impossibly are all balanced with each other, where they can just have this gameplay experience and this team-based experience that might seem overwhelming at first, that you can jump into and really just run with.
It mechanically and artistically captivated us for the majority of the year and beyond. And most of all, it's just downright fun to play.
We just haven't seen anything like this in a long time. We haven't seen a game that provides both this much depth and is also so fun minute to minute with its interesting and diverse characters. Absolutely, unequivocally, Overwatch is the new gold standard in multiplayer shooters, and that's why it's IGN's Game of the Year 2016.